Hello, my friends. It is I, Kodiak, and we're doing the stream thing again. It's going to be really interesting. We've done this before. If you've been a follower of the channel for a while, you might remember Legacy After Dark was something we did way, way, way long ago. I think it's been 3+ years since we did it. I think it was before my first kid. But we're bringing it back. And the idea here is really simple. We want to engage with you guys more. We pump out a lot of really awesome guides, walkthroughs, reviews. You guys know that stuff. But what we want to look to do is even more. So first things first, I'm going to check in with the guys that are watching the stream, make sure that the audio is good, everybody can hear me, see me, because we are trying things for the first time. And it is, I'm using a headset, which I know is probably really weird for a lot of you guys, but I'm going to have to do a lot of this. And it's going to be a little awkward because what we're going to do is we're actually going to watch some trailers together. We're going to talk about some game news. We're going to do all sorts of things. And eventually, you'll see this on our YouTube channel. You'll see this on our TikTok channel, all the places where you find Legacy Gaming. You'll see stuff in Discord, all that good stuff. So it's great to see you guys. The goal here is really to utilize something completely new. And I'm going to pull it up for a second so you guys can see. So Legacy Gaming launched our first subreddit, which is something that we've talked about doing for a really long time here. And we're really excited about this. We know a lot of big streamers do this, right? Asmongold, all sorts of folks like that. I said a lot and I named one person. I don't actually know who else does this, but I'm sure others do. The idea here is really simple. If you guys want to contribute content, new trailers, new videos, links to articles, whatever it may be, if you want to contribute to the things that we talk about on a weekly basis, you can join the Legacy Gaming subreddit. We're going to open this up in a couple weeks to everybody. For now, you just have to apply and we'll let you in. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff we're going to be talking about tonight, a couple trailers, a couple videos from other creators, just a lot of cool stuff. And the idea here is just to have fun talking about gaming once a week. I don't think we're going to do this anything more than once a week because quite honestly, we're really busy. This is a slow period of the year, usually between like November and December, where we try and experiment with things. We see what works as we go into the new year, where like we've got a video coming out, guys, probably coming out tomorrow, which is top 25 games of 2025. It's crazy. There are 25 games that we're highlighting, and right now a lot of that's in flux, right? The first 2 months of the year are crazy busy. February in particular is crazy. I think what we're going to do is we're going to look at some of those trailers next week because we've got a lot of cool stuff on the subreddit to talk about today. But man, I'll tell you guys, 2025, I'm getting a really good feeling about 2025. We still got the Game Awards to go. We're going to be doing some stuff with that in the coming weeks. I think that's early December. There's just a lot of fun stuff that we don't often get a chance to talk about, right? Part of the reason we're doing this is because myself, Livid, Schmo, the guys that help us edit, Apollo, Thick, and Nas, like we are all grinding every single day on a video or a short, whatever it is. And we don't get a lot of time to kind of catch up on some of the things that slip through the cracks. We're not really a news channel. We don't cover the day-to-day stuff, right? And this was our kind of answer to that. So I am just super excited to do this with you guys. There's a lot of stuff, and this is where it gets weird for me. And I just want to be 100 with you guys. And I've told the guys this, right? This is where it gets weird for me. There's a lot of stuff on here I'm not an expert in. I'm not even close to an expert in, right? So we're going to talk about things, and I'm going to say something that you're going to be like, wait, did he just say that? And the reason is I'm trying to push myself. I'm trying to get myself out of the comfort zone because most of the time we're scripting, right? We're writing these 2,000 word scripts for a 15-minute video for you guys. We don't have the opportunity to really kind of go off the cuff. So that's a new experience for me. That's why I've always resisted streaming. So I'm just going to ask you guys for a little grace right up front. I'm not going to do this every time, but I'm going to do it tonight on the first one. There are things on here that I just don't have experience with. So I'm going to look to you guys in the comments, in the stream chat, to either keep me honest, share your opinions. This is not going to turn into some like drama stream every week. I don't care about that stuff. I want to talk about games. I want to talk about what's going on in the industry. And yeah, we're going to have fun once a week for a couple hours. So again, guys, it's the R Legacy Gaming subreddit. You guys can join that. All you got to do is apply. And we're just going to kind of take a peek here. I haven't looked at any of this stuff. I haven't clicked on anything. I've seen kind of what's been coming in, but I haven't clicked on anything yet. But I can tell you, I do know where I want to start, and it's right here. This was posted by our boy Sean John 404. I want to talk about Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is a game Livid and myself have been really interested in for quite a while now. This started out as a really interesting looking game that has completely morphed at this point. And so the other day they released I guess it was 5 days ago, wow, a gameplay reveal of Arc Raiders. And I have not looked at this yet. It is 6 minutes of gameplay. I am so excited to see where this game has gone, because from where it started to where it is now, as I believe an extraction shooter, completely different, right? So let's do this thing full screen. I have not played this yet. I have not seen this yet. I believe Schmo on our team has access to the alpha. Haven't talked to him about this yet. So this is completely new territory for me. So let's check it out together, and let's see where Arc Raiders is currently at in development.
Arc Raiders is a multiplayer extraction adventure set in a distant future here on Earth. Players start in Speranza, one of the few places in the Rust Belt that is relatively safe from Arc machines that occupy the surface. There are thousands of people living down here, and there is always a need for vital materials from the world above. The Raiders are the ones who put themselves at risk, both from Arc as well as other rival Raiders, for a price. It is from here that players can reach different parts of the Rust Belt through a network of repurposed tunnels.
All right, here we go. Well, it's immediately looking like The Division, which I have very little experience in. But I still love the aesthetic of everything that we've seen up until this point. Trailers, and now the gameplay.
The Raider we are following is on a quest, a job to obtain a seed vault from a research facility deeper into the city. The others in the squad are after medical supplies, some rare parts, and their best lead is a pharmacy nearby.
Sometimes you gotta listen through some of the VO, right? That's kind of trying to over-market the game, but so far it looks really cool.
A red flare is a signal of a raider getting knocked down, but you never really know what happened there until you go look. Could have been a fight between raiders or Arc. You never know.
Wasp, over there.
Nice
Let's go there.
Wasp.
That's a cool effect with the bird. I like that. We got some drone stuff.
Let's go to that tower.
This is looking really sharp, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I could see myself playing this right now, honestly. I mean, even that like explosion animation was really just kind of more sophisticated than you'd expect to see from maybe a game like this that doesn't have a lot of credentials, right?
They've reached the pharmacy now.
Let's get over there.
It looks like they are probably the
And
first
subject
ones here.
here.
But you can never be sure, so it is wise to double-check your corners.
Hey, Raider.
Don't shoot, I'm a friend.
You wanna split the loot?
Nope.
Attack the target.
Making friends in the Rust Belt is not easy, but that doesn't mean it can't happen.
I don't like all these hard cuts to other scenes, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I want to see these full elongated gameplay clips, especially when this game is ebbed and flowed so much.
Wasp, up there. Careful.
Yeah,
that's a
another
hornet.
cut there. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just worry that sometimes when they do cuts like that, they're trying to hide something, which I don't think they're doing, but they've clearly got enough of a game here where they could show more.
Down into septic.
This is it.
Some plastic.
Looks like they got what they came for. And now it's time to get out of here. Everything that you find will be lost if you don't make it out alive. But raiders know this. It's what they do.
Just looking at everything, what immediately speaks to me, and again, you might like this or you might hate this, these games have gotten so fantastical, right? So crazy that I really like how everything feels very grounded in just like nitty-gritty gunplay, right? A lot of things to hide behind, a lot of just firefights, no crazy abilities, no crazy weapons, which, you know, obviously might change, but feels very urban warfare, which I don't think we have really a nitty-gritty game like that other than something like The Division at this point.
Engaging in firefights may sometimes be the only way out of a tight spot. Other times, being cautious and staying out of sight is the better option to make it out. For raiders hoping to thrive, the Rust Belt is filled with opportunities and secrets. If you know where to look. You'll have to stay vigilant up there on the surface.
Well, that was a glimpse of something pretty big.
Roam unchecked.
Yeah, there's a shadow there. There it is.
Our
Okay, cool.
motives of other raiders
I was hoping they
remain
were going to show something
dangerously
like that.
unclear. You'll need to be resourceful, work with what you have, and sometimes make plans on the fly. What are you prepared to risk to get what you want? Ultimately, you get to decide what kind of raider you'll become. Shaping your own legacy, your raider, and your home.
Yeah, man, that's a really, really cool looking game. I think personally, now I don't know how you guys feel about it, but personally, I feel like this game never really showed enough that I'm upset that they changed genres, right? Like, that's one thing. I saw a little bit of, you know, kind of back and forth about, oh man, they must be going through development hell because they changed genres. Well, they never showed us enough to be upset about that, right? If they were a month from release and then all of a sudden they decided they wanted to be an extraction shooter, then yeah, I understand getting a little upset about it. But this game, I feel like, has always been trying to find its identity. They started with a really popular reveal trailer that just completely blew everybody out of the water, right? Anytime you do something in this space and then you have a cool theme or a cool concept, you're just destined to do well, right? We all know that this particular genre, third-person shooter, whatever subgenre is part of that, it's gonna do well, at least to start. And to finally see gameplay of Arc Raiders is very cool. I love a three-person squad game. I think 3 people is just the absolute right number for a game like this. I'm sure there'll be either solos or duos or something like that too, but I think 3-person is perfect for a game like this. What we don't see here is enough of the systems, right? You guys know how we do here at Legacy Gaming. We are systems guys through and through. We want to see all of the nuts and bolts and how all of those pieces work together. What I can tell you from what I saw here was the gunplay looks really cool. Like I said, it's very gritty. It's very like grounded in reality. Actually, I'm going to pause it right here because you can see a lot of cool stuff here, right? Obviously, you've got the legend on the right, which is giving you a glimpse into quite a lot of stuff, right? We didn't see a lot of that, or at least we didn't specifically see a lot of that. You know, Raider Hatch, Metro Station, Arc Probe, Supply Call Station, like those are all microsystems within the game world, right? So we didn't probably see most of that. I think we saw some stuff later in the trailer where they shot up a flare at a beacon. Maybe that's a supply call station. But to be honest with you guys, that's a lot of enticing stuff right there, because what that means to me is there are some subsystems at play, which you would expect in a third-person extraction game. But also on the left-hand side here, you've got quests, right? You're trying to actually do tangible things in the game world, which is really cool. So I'm just excited about this one. Again, I am not a huge Division guy. I don't have a lot of experience in that game. I think I played a little bit of Division 2 back in the day. This is very much more of a live it and schmo thing when it comes time to actually play this game. But from what I can see, very excited about this one. Want to know a lot more about those systems. I like kind of the PvE elements of it, right? You've got a lot of drones, which we always knew were going to be the case. We knew that robots were going to be attacking our raiders in some capacity, even back during the reveal trailer. But now we kind of get a glimpse for how those PvE elements mix in with the PvP elements, and that could make for a really cool game. There's not really a game like this out there right now that's capturing a huge audience. So, man, if they time this right and Arc Raiders releases in a window of time where the appetite is there, and I say this all the time about games. Like, I talked about 2025 a little bit before, right? February 2025 is insane. There are like 7 games releasing in the span of 3 weeks. Why do developers do that? I don't understand. You may say publishing, marketing, spending money, ad campaigns. I don't care. You look at a game like this. If it strikes when there is kind of a lull in the gaming world, it could do gangbusters, right? Because everybody is out there. They've gone back to their kind of like comfort food game, whether that's a Destiny or a Call of Duty or a World of Warcraft. But then something like this comes out completely surprising everybody with no competition around, no new and relevant competition. Man, that could be really special. I would love to see where this thing goes, right? I want to know if there's anything more than, ground traversal, zipline traversal. Are there vehicles? Can we hijack these robots? Can we hack them? So much cool stuff that they could do here, right? Of course, and here's the kicker with any sort of game like this, you have to worry about monetization. You have to worry about how the team, if they don't do crazy numbers at launch, how are they going to keep this game going in a meaningful way that rewards the players that are playing without taking advantage of them, right? Cosmetic skins, fine, whatever. Obviously, you don't want gross monetization where you're exploiting your fan base that's playing the game, trying to enjoy it just so that they could keep development going to get more people. It's a terrible cycle. It's really, I don't envy any developer that has to do it. Hopefully, the game plays awesome, it attracts a lot of attention, and the developers can make the right choices about how they want to monetize the game. We will just have to wait and see. So, I don't know, guys. This one looks really cool. I just like that it's kind of nitty-gritty, down to earth. It's coming, right? I think we saw, coming 2025. It's in our 2025 video, so definitely some cool stuff coming here. Oh, man. I'm just so pumped about Arc Raiders, quite honestly. Like, I just think that game is going to be, it's going to be really cool one way or another. It's either going to be really cool because it's amazing, or it's going to be really interesting and that it kind of flops for whatever reason. Alrighty, let's see what else we got here. So much stuff we could kind of dive into. You know what? I'm actually really interested about this one too. So this is a game that we covered here on the channel a while back called Enshrouded. I saw Enshrouded actually popped off over the last week or so. I'm going to do a quick Steam DB here of Enshrouded because I'm really curious. Yeah, man, they're up to 25K again, concurrent players. That's a really good chart for them. I mean, look at where they were, right? They were down here at like 5K a day. That's not bad, 4 or 5K a day. Let's see what their max is. Yeah, their max was pretty high. Yeah, 160. This is when we were playing the game. This is when we were covering the game. And look, they're back up to almost peak, what was that, 42, something like that? 42, almost 43. That's pretty good. That's not bad. So I want to actually check out this Souls of the Forest Frontier, right? That's what triggered this kind of wave of people coming back. So this is the Souls of the Forest Frontier update for Enshrouded, introducing a vast new snow biome, the oh man, you guys are going to see in real time how I cannot pronounce anything. Albaneve Summits, featuring challenging environments, new enemies, and wildlife, a dynamic weather system. That's in bold, so I assume that's pretty important. Enhancing immersion with changing climates like snow and rainstorms. Players will face new threats such as scavenger enemies with fire-based attacks, a corrupted cyclops, and a fogger sporehead mage. So let's see what this is all about. I'm actually really curious. All right, let's check it out.
Greetings, Flameborn.
I should probably make it full screen. I should probably learn how to do this whole streaming thing before I start streaming, right? Here we go.
Greetings, Flameborn. We're thrilled to introduce Enshrouded's biggest update yet, Souls of the Frozen Frontier. Let's dive in. First up, the Albany Summits, a massive
Yeah, I
new
was pretty
snow
close to that
biome that towers
pronunciation.
above the world as the highest peak on the map. This frozen landscape is home to breathtaking vistas, daunting peaks, and new settlements that tell the story of the ancient civilization that once lived here. The Albany Summits bring with them fresh new challenges as new enemies and fauna await. This biome transfers the way you approach combat and survival. Its frozen beauty is more than just a visual change. It deeply impacts gameplay, making every decision in its harsh environment critical. Along with the Albany Summits, we're introducing a completely new weather system. This dynamic system brings the world to life with changing weather throughout the day. But it's not just the snow. Rainstorm sweeps across the regions of Ambervale, adding to the immersion and making the world feel more alive than ever before. Speaking of bringing the world to life, let's talk about the new threats you'll face. We are introducing new scavenger enemies with fire-focused attacks from the flamethrower scavenger and the whip-wielding champion, who not
That's
only
cool
attacks
enemy.
but buffs allies. You will
I love
also
me any
encounter
sort of
a
whip
new
enemy.
variation of the foe you already know, the Cyclops. This massive male brute roams caves, and his corrupted version can be found in the Shroud, ready to challenge even the most seasoned players. Speaking of Shroud, keep an eye on the new Fogger Sporehead Mage, and of course we've added new wildlife and their new variations, including the Mountain Yak, Snow Leopard, and a Mountain Goat.
Nice. All really good
Now,
looking.
let's move on to a complete revamp of NPCs. Your crafting NPCs can now roam freely around your base, following daily routines.
Oh, that's such a
At night,
huge
they will seek out
update.
beds you assign them to sleep in, so you can create dedicated living quarters for your survivors. Their happiness is now tied to having a sheltered bed, so be sure to take care of their needs. After all, they're working for free. We've also introduced assistant crafting NPCs who can be found throughout the world and be placed in secondary bases, giving you access to crafting recipes without having to move your main NPCs.
Man, this is some really, really
But that
solid
is not
quality
all.
of life
We are
stuff.
also introducing townsfolk to make your bases feel more alive. These NPCs can be found and rescued around the world and come with quests, dialogue, and interactions. Enshrouded is about restoring a kingdom, and these are your first subjects. And now let's talk about something you have been all
Oh,
asking
man.
for.
They are
Animal
really
farming.
listening here. This
You
is
can now
awesome.
tame and capture wildlife, bringing them back to your base. Once there, they will produce resources like wool, milk, eggs, and feathers, as long as they're fed and sheltered. Animals can breed and produce offspring, and yes, you can even pet the baby animals. Pets are also making their way into your base. Cats
That's
and dogs
awesome.
can now be tamed, roaming freely in your settlement. They don't provide resources, but will give you buffs when petted. And with 5 coats for dogs and cats, there's a good chance your pet in-game will look like your pets in real life.
Yeah, they're really leaning into some
Moving on
cool
to
stuff here.
miscellaneous stuff. We're increasing the max player level to 35, and the flame can be upgraded twice to help you venture into the new deadly shroud zones. You will also be able to unlock new weapons, new armor sets, and a reward glider system. And also, ice as a terrain block, which will let you have fun sliding across frozen surfaces and perhaps put you on a collision course. The grappling hook has also been enhanced. It can now pull
Oh,
flying
wow,
enemies
that's
towards you
great.
or launch you into the combat against larger foes.
Wow, man, I might have to reinstall this
In
one.
order to use the new grappling
Enjoy a
hook
little bit of
mechanic,
this
you will
during
have to unlock it
the
in the skill
December
tree.
lull.
Finally, we've added new building materials and furniture to keep your creative side busy. From polished granite and obsidian to icy terrains and luxurious furniture sets, your base building possibilities have never been greater. But wait, there is more. Like, actually, a lot more. Too much to cover here, so check the full patch notes linked in the description. We hope you enjoyed everything that Update 4 has to offer, from the Albany Summits to the dynamic weather and bustling townsfolk. This update is about making the world of Enshrouded bigger and livelier than ever before. On that note, we'll see you in the next one.
Woo! Man, there are games where when you're in early access, right? Especially now for Livid and myself who have been covering games since 2020 together as a team, there are early access games where you just go in now having this expectation. Things aren't going to be great. Maybe some things are broken, but you get a sense for where a game could go, right? You get a sense for what's working, what's not, but also the ambition of the developers. We spent a lot of time on Enshrouded. I don't know how many videos we put out for the game. It was a decent number. It was a good enough number, and it was some of our larger, series videos. I think there was a Wish I Knew Sooner. I know there was some guides for specific things in the game. I don't know if there were any build guides. Maybe there was, but that's not the point. The point is this: when you're playing an early access game as a creator, you're looking at it for the opportunity now, right? You're playing the game. What is the game presenting now? But you're also trying to keep an eye on where it could go in the future. And that's what I'm really seeing with this update. And I know Enshrouded has been quiet, right? This is the first really, they say it's update 4, right? It says it right off the top. But in terms of the scale and scope of this update, it's bigger than, I think, anything else that they've done, because I haven't heard of anything else that they've really done. Yes, it's a new region, right? And I think that's a cool part of it. And I like that they start with that, because they're just kind of setting the ground for, hey, it's a new biome, it's snowy, it's mountainous, but it's all the other stuff that actually gets me really excited about this game, because Enshrouded already, foundationally, was very good. But the things that they addressed in this update, such as the NPCs having a little bit more of a life cycle in your base, is huge, because when you're so used to a certain kind of game or quality of game and those things aren't there, they become a little bit awkward, right? So like when we were playing this game, we had a private server that I think I was hosting locally, and Livid and myself and Schmo, we were all playing this game for hours on end, and you have your NPCs that Livid built these incredible bases for. Like each NPC had their own house that Livid built by hand, but they didn't do anything. They just kind of stayed around, stood around, and over time, that kind of erodes a little bit of the fun of it, because you're either into the exploration part of it or you're into kind of the crafting, homesteading part of it, right? It's why games like Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon, Rune Factory, any sort of game like that are incredibly popular, because you either have people who really like the action part of it, the adventure part of it, maybe you have somebody who likes the homesteading part of it, and then that Magic player who likes both gets two amazing systems. It was the adventure side of things that was already really good. Yes, enemy diversity wasn't great. They obviously addressed that here with a couple new enemies and enemy factions, but then on the homesteading side, there were a lot of really cool systems that worked, but were never fully realized. This is another step forward for them fully realizing what this game could be. Not only are your villagers alive, but now you've got, not only are your NPCs alive, but now you've got villagers and assistants, right? 2 new layers of NPCs that are part of your base experience, which just allows you to do so much more. It just keeps kind of that liveliness to the things that you build. When you're playing a game like this, the casual side of this game, I want to be really specific here, and things don't feel alive, that's where things become stagnant, right? That's where a game starts to lose a little bit of that polish. If you're running around your game world and nothing is moving around you, and you're trying to build this village or this castle, whatever you want to be building, and there's no life there, yeah, you're going to start feeling disconnected from it. So for them to add not only more NPCs, make them more dynamic, more villagers, the assistant feature, and then all of this stuff, the animals, the dogs, the cats, the tamables, man, they are just doing a really great job listening to the community, because I can tell you guys, I don't even need to look this up. I can tell you the people who are still playing this game are on the more casual side of things. They're the type of folks that like to build, like to craft a perfect base, and would love features like this. That's really smart for the Enshrouded folks to understand their audience and realize, yeah, we can entice some of those maybe more hardcore people back with some new biomes, some new weapons, and new armor sets. But really, at the core of it are all these other features. Quality of life, NPC kind of revamp, villagers, assistants, tameable creatures, pets, and then, of course, expanding the actual things you can do with your base, right? New bricks and blocks and, kind of new things to make your base feel a little bit different. Very cool update from the Enshrouded folks. Actually really impressed by this, if I'm being honest with you guys. Sometimes you watch an early access kind of update video and you're like, all right, they're doing some stuff. They're doing some stuff that's interesting. These guys are clearly doing some stuff that is very cool. and very much what the community wants. I also love this part that's on screen right now. It feels very much like something that like a YouTuber like we would do, right? You throw a bunch of like the patch notes on the screen, literally on a YouTube feed where you can see like who they're following. It's very funny. I kind of enjoy all of that. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Enshrouded is looking really good. I don't know in the chat if you guys have played this game a lot. I know, like I said, we've played a lot. I can actually pop up really quick how many hours I've played this game. I have no idea. Let's see. Enshrouded, where are you? It was a lot. Oh, yeah. Well, so, okay, here's the thing. Oh, you guys aren't even seeing it. You're looking at what is this, a Hyundai commercial? Hold on. I can do this. That's the wrong one. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's not that one. It's this one. Hold on, I got this. I can do this. There we go. So, look, my time with Enshrouded is incredibly bloated because, again, I was hosting a local server. I had it up all the time. So I have 278 hours in this game. That is not accurate at all. I'd be curious if Livid is in the chat, how many hours he had with this game, but also he had a tendency to stay on too, just because of the way that we had to host the server locally. So I'm going to say it was more like a 70 to 80 hour game for us during that kind of like first 2 weeks of early access. We were playing before the game actually launched, so that was cool too. But anyways, really like Enshrouded. If you guys have not checked it out, I don't mind shilling for it for a second. It was a great game, and that update looks really cool. So we should give developers props when they do cool things like that. Alrighty. What else we got here? I want to click on all of it, but like there's just some stuff that I just don't know. Livid's got 131 hours. That feels more accurate. Livid is often very much higher than me. So like I would probably be around a 70 to 80. He's at about 110, especially with a survival game. That's definitely feels like a Livid thing. So next, guys, if anybody in the chat knows, we have, I think, 1 or 2 videos covering Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This is a game that is going to go one of 2 ways, just straight up. It's going to go one of 2 ways. It is either going to be a low-key banger of a hit, or it's going to be another kind of like cinema adaptation that just never really clicks with folks, right? I saw this the other day, and I was afraid to click on it because this is the first gameplay deep dive they've done. I am not an Indiana Jones like stan by any stretch. I've seen the old movies. I think I've seen one of the new movies, I think. And it's good. I like Indiana Jones. I like the concept of Indiana Jones, but I have no love one way or the other. Like there's nothing that is pulling me to want to cover this game or play this game. There's also nothing saying that I don't want to play this game. So I'm excited to check out this gameplay deep dive with you because I'm really interested to see where this is going. This is a big Xbox release, I think, for next month, for December, right? So, you know, we're coming up on launch day, and for them to be doing a deep dive is a pretty big deal. So let's check this one out. This is a bit longer, so hang with me on this one because I do really want to see what they're showcasing here. 14 minutes is not nothing, and I'm saying this straight to you guys because 14 minutes is not nothing. When we start to get worried about a game as creators that look at a lot of big games, we always look at when are these companies hiding things from you guys? When are they not releasing raw gameplay or large chunks of, you know, kind of uncut gameplay? And when are they doing more markety things, right? Releasing 2-minute trailers about story or a character or art direction, right? That's when we start to get worried as content creators. To showcase a 14-minute gameplay video initially means to me they're confident in their game. That is a great sign for all of us. And I'm not just saying that. That's a really great sign for all of us. So we're going to dive into this one. It's a bit long, but I am really interested to see what they're doing with Indiana Jones. So let's check it out. Should probably turn on the volume. Let's try this again. I'm going to get better at this, guys. That's the thing. That's the thing. So before I already see, you know, fervor in the chat saying this game is looking mid. Maybe you know something I don't. I'm going to reserve judgment until the end of this 14 minutes. But maybe on the back end of this 14 minutes, I will feel the same as you. Let's find out together. I'm waiting for the giant boulder. I knew it. I knew it was coming.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh, not a giant boulder. Lots of sand.
All right, exit. There's gotta be an exit.
That's pretty intense. Wouldn't he be buried by now? Why is he rising with the sand? That's not how sand works. I don't think. I'm not a sand expert.
It's like quicksand.
We will suspend our reality for a second here. I mean, movement looks a little clunky, but I guess that's to be expected. You know, he's not a superhero, right?
Welcome to Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I'm Pete Ward, audio director at Machine Games.
Oh, that's
Here
right,
to
Machine
introduce you
Games.
to
That's
this
Deus,
first-person
not Deus
action-adventure
Ex.
game that will
Wolfenstein,
take you on
guys.
a global journey as the legendary archaeologist.
Thanks, pal.
Explore the forgotten marvels of the world with the tools you need to embark on a classic indie story. The fedora, the whip, the revolver. You'll experience what it feels like to step into the boots of the legend. Our story begins here. Professor Jones is awoken by a break-in.
All right, pal. You can't sleep here.
With a priceless relic stolen, the chase is on to uncover the mystery. Joining the chase is Gina, an Italian journalist with a quest of her own.
Yeah, but that's superstition. And I don't believe in superstition.
Neither do I. But if Voss thinks those stone relics can help the Reich, then we have to find them before he does.
No, you have to find them. I have to find my sister.
Standing against them is Indy's rival, archaeologist Emmerich Voss, who is plundering sites around the globe, searching for a set of mysterious artifacts. But as Indy digs deeper, he soon discovers the theft is only a small part of a grander global conspiracy.
Ich muss Sie warnen, Herr Voss. Die Relikte sind gefährlich. Sie sollen Kräfte bergen, die nicht von dieser Welt sind.
Und genau deswegen will der Führer sie haben.
Luckily, Indy and Gina have a global network of allies to counter Voss.
I am Dame Nawal Shafiq Bakli.
We made it, Henri.
I'm an archaeologist.
Another one.
I'm just going to pause for a second because one thing that's incredibly clear with this game, at least right off the bat, incredibly narrative driven, right? So single player, obviously, but if you're somebody that's into narrative driven games, this might be for you. I wouldn't say it's full blown simulation or what do they call it? First person sim, but it's incredibly single player narrative driven. So many characters introduced in just that, 3 minutes? And a lot of those building blocks of, have a little bit of adventure, have a story beat, a little bit of adventure, a little bit of a story beat. So just, again, I always like to provide that context, kind of that frame of reference when we think about these new games, because you never want to go into a game questioning what you're playing, right? That's why we do reviews. That's why we do first impressions. But anyways, I'm just getting a very strong sense of that right up front here.
The game is designed around the charm and resourcefulness of our hero. You will be thrown into this story-driven journey where Indy must hunt for clues to uncover the Great Circle's mysteries.
What do we have here?
Really cool environments too. Like, I actually really like the environments that we're looking
This
at.
race for answers will take you to ancient crypts, lost civilizations, and much more. The focus for this game is adventure.
I found a key to a hidden chamber.
What was this built for?
Looks like a temple. Maybe a rite of passage for Khmer warriors.
When you venture into the unknown, we want exploration to feel truly rewarding.
Let me see here.
We carefully crafted each environment to encourage players to uncover clues,
Oh, nice. We got some like genuine
discover
puzzle
valuable
elements.
objects.
There we go.
I mean,
and reveal
obviously,
hidden
that's not that
secrets can aid
complicated,
you in
right?
your
But
adventure.
Down you go!
Another time, chum.
During your adventure, Indy's versatile tools are at your disposal. It's up to you to find clever uses for each of them. That includes Indy's camera. Snap photos to reveal historical insights and important clues. Or, if you feel the need, use it to receive puzzle hints.
Need to direct the
that's
light to
pretty
the
cool.
metal discs.
The journal is your complete guide. It starts as a blank slate, but becomes a detailed archive of your journey with maps, photos, and letters. It's a reminder of where you've been, and, for the sharp observer, a hint about where to head next.
I really like when games do this. This is, to me, at least what we're seeing here, is a game that's not going to hold your hand necessarily through something unless you want it held a little bit more with the camera feature. You know, I think most modern games that we play, and let's use Dragon Age Veilguard as a perfect example, right? Which we covered here on the channel. We were one of the few creators that were out there saying we liked it. One of the things that I personally don't really enjoy is when a game overly holds your hand. And while this is clearly doing that in a way, what's really neat is kind of that layering effect of gathering those clues or those insights and seeing that all come together in more of an organic way, right? Sometimes a clue in a game is just picking up a piece of paper, not actually reading it, and then the game's quest update will basically tell you the summary of that note, right? You could actually get a note that says so much detail and context about the quest or the world, and then all of a sudden your quest, tracker just updates and says, go to this point. That's not utilizing a system like that in a way that's meaningful to the player. That's just providing them something to do to get to the next point without providing them that kind of immersive experience. This, if it's playing out the way that they're kind of laying out here in the trailer, is a little bit more immersive. It's a little bit more, we're giving you kind of each of these things drip by drip, and then ultimately you're going to have to kind of come up with the solution, which I really like.
Your travels will inevitably take you into restricted areas. That's where disguises come in.
I hope they fit. You should have become a man of the cloth.
I found another calling.
Use of disguises can help you enter guarded areas. Ensure you avoid those who have a sharp eye for spotting trespassers.
Du da, bring mir die Flasche.
There you are.
Hörst du etwas schlecht?
And of course, there's the whip, Indy's most important tool. It's a powerful weapon in combat and a crucial tool for traversing lost ruins.
Come on, you can do this, Indy. Just a bit further.
The water's flowing now.
Indy's greatest tool, his mind. Just like Indy, you'll use yours to navigate buried tombs and activate forgotten puzzles, while avoiding deadly traps. Clues from the journal, traversal, and decryption are just a few of the things you'll need to figure out the solutions. Every puzzle is designed to fit seamlessly into the world. They range from smaller challenges, hiding forbidden secrets, to epic obstacles leading to greater mysteries.
Longinus, the soldier who pierced the side of Jesus with a holy lance. Three.
Solving these puzzles will make you feel like the world's greatest archaeologist.
Just to pause again here, guys. You talk about a game not hiding something, right? I mentioned that earlier on before we really dove into the trailer, and we're almost at the 9-minute mark here. They're showing a lot of what this game is about. They're really not hiding anything, which is actually very cool. There was a game I covered. It was a one-off. I did a review on it. It was my first introduction into like a true first-person adventure puzzle game. I can't remember what it was called, but that's not the point. I really like what I'm seeing here because, again, you have that layering effect of exploring your environment, finding clues in your environment, and then solving these puzzles. So far, nothing has seemed overly complicated, but again, we're getting glimpses, longer stretches of a glimpse, which is great, right? It's not just flashing something at you and then jumping to the immediate next thing to show an overwhelming amount of puzzles. They're actually showing how you're going to engage with these puzzles. You're going to take a picture of that statue and they're going to, Indy's going to say something that leads you to think about, what is the next step in that puzzle. And again, everything has been pretty much interact with the thing that's in front of you, but we're seeing those moments because that's what they want to show us. They're not showing the moments before that, which is often looking around, navigating around the space, and trying to figure out how this environmental puzzle comes together. They're showing us the climax of that moment, which is very cool and a little bit of a spoiler, I guess you could say, right? Like that whole, wine into the basin, revealing the 3 is a bit of a spoiler. I can't imagine that's going to be a random element that changes in the base game. But what you're actually seeing is the variety of puzzles and how the environmental puzzles are actually really tied to the theme of the game, which is Indiana Jones being a huge, adventurer, archaeologist, which is really cool. I see you guys talking about the voice acting too in the chat here. I don't know who Troy Baker is. I see that we're pointing out that he's playing Indiana Jones. I really like the voice acting so far. It sounds really clean, but it also sounds really authentic. And as I said before, this is very clearly a narrative-driven game with a huge adventure puzzle element, yes, but a very narrative-driven game. So, again, they're not hiding a lot here, and that's really cool to see.
Sounds like that did something.
The key to the game's combat is to carefully decide your approach. Will you outsmart?
Watch your step, pal.
Or overpower your enemies?
And that's Professor to you.
Outsmart foes in stealth, using your environment as your greatest weapon.
Was ist das?
Pick up a nearby object to distract, stun, or subdue enemies while remaining unnoticed.
Mist! Hat ihn umgelegt! Oh, das tat echt weh! Nein!
Enemy
In a brawl,
AI
you need to
doesn't
hold your
look
own
great.
with powerful combos,
Just throwing that out
blocks,
there.
and defensive parrying. Precisely timing and mixing up these moves is critical to landing a knockout combo or a classic finisher. You'll combine these brawling skills with your whip, your revolver, and anything within reach for amazingly creative combat.
Cos'è questa roba?
To avoid sounding an alarm, you can carry incapacitated enemies into the shadows, out of sight from patrolling guards.
All right, fella. Where should I hide you?
As you complete missions, you'll earn adventure points to expand your skill set. There are dozens of upgrades that let you customize Indy's abilities to your playstyle. The ability Lucky Hat gives Indy an extra chance to come back from a fatal blow.
That is very cool. Picking up the hat to get a second life. I like that a
The
lot.
Bare Hands ability strengthens Indy, letting him take down enemies unarmed.
Felt like a leaf.
Oh, that was a little lame, not gonna lie.
Open areas give you the freedom to find your own adventures.
Beautiful.
Wow. What a view.
In these areas, let your curiosity take you off the main path and uncover new missions, mysteries, and secrets.
It's a trap!
But I was so sure.
We're about to die!
So what do we do?
Find a way out before we're crushed!
Everything is carefully researched and crafted to authentically recreate a vibrant 1930s.
What are you selling?
I think I have something for you.
Yeah, little guy.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Exploring with a keen eye is essential to making discoveries. Like an underground fight club.
It's like some Sherlock Holmes fight
While
club.
the vividly recreated locations you visit have a clear goal driving the story forward, you'll always feel enticed to explore the world and discover the many secrets
Yeah, that's
hiding
one of
around
those.
every corner.
The layering
Response
I
to
was
you,
mentioning,
Wolverine.
right? You just unlock the map there. Now that's in the journal. You have a little bit more knowledge, access to the area. Pretty cool. I just like that better than just having everything right at your fingertips from the start.
This place gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Gina!
Scared of snakes? Not a chance.
We can't wait to bring you along for this journey we've poured our hearts into. For you to experience the wonderful places, meet our charming cast of characters, and discover the secrets of the Great Circle.
Son of a... No, wait!
Oh, God.
Run!
All right, so we're less than a month away from this one. That was a long trailer, or sorry, I guess you could say, long gameplay showcase. But ultimately, I walked away with a lot more positives than I did negatives. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Maybe you're feeling a little lukewarm about it. Here's what I'll say. It's very clear to me that the adventure parts of this game are the best parts, right? Or the parts that they want to showcase. The combat parts of this game, which we haven't talked about yet, look incredibly lackluster. Now, is that because Indiana Jones is just a dude that can punch and shoot and use a whip. I almost said a wisp. A whip, probably, right? Like, that's literally the combat gameplay loop. He punches Nazis. He uses his whip to disarm them if they have a gun, and maybe he grabs something in the environment to smack them with. What I worry about is if they rely on that too much, that's not enough of a combat system to make it interesting. So you're going to end up slowing down the adventure parts of the game, the puzzle parts of the game, which genuinely look really cool, right? We saw probably a dozen, if not more, really interesting looking environments and puzzle elements that I want to play this right now just for that reason alone. Do I necessarily want to creep around Nazi encampments and punch them? No. Where that really is going to come down to is balance. Do they balance this game in such a way that those combat moments don't feel like clunky, burdensome? They already look clunky, right? They already, like, we saw that section of this gameplay reveal where there was a section where the AI was very clearly showcased, and it wasn't great. It wasn't great. But if the adventure puzzle elements of the game are in the driving seat, and the combat and the other action stuff is in the back seat, that would be cool. They have to show the combat stuff, right? Like, let's not pretend that they're not going to show it, because ultimately it's two halves to this game, right? You've got this awesome environmental storytelling, puzzle, exploration element, and then on the other hand, you have kind of the adventure and combat part of it, which is always, I mean, that's an Indiana Jones thing, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It just looks a little clunky compared to some of the very flashy, very polished, very fantastic in a way combat that we're used to in other first-person games that we play in the modern gaming era. That's just kind of the reality of the situation. Livid in the chat, mentioned the side missions and the secrets, and I kind of want to end talking about that, because what I was not expecting open world elements of this game. This to me screamed on the rails, go from point A to point B to point C to point D, and then eventually you get to the end of the game. I was not expecting there to be open world elements of this game where you could just kind of explore an area and find secrets. That is a huge question mark. It's a really enticing question mark, but it's a huge question mark. Mainly because what are those things going to reward you with? If they're going to reward you with genuine upgrades to your character, I mean, cosmetics, maybe. You're not going to mess with Indiana Jones too much, and you're playing a first-person game, so, like, what's the point? But really, what is the payoff for doing that exploration? If it's just achievements, that's not enough. If it's something more than that, that's progression-based, well, that's something. And that's something that could entice players. The puzzle elements of any game, in my opinion, are never enough for players. I think Fervor in the chat is saying, are puzzles enough to spend $60 on? That's a great question. It is a great question. I don't think any game that was purely puzzle-based, other than something like a Portal, have ever enticed players to pay a solid chunk of money. Let's not pretend $60 is not a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But a game like Portal was never $60, right? It was, I don't know what it was at its peak, maybe $20, $30. Other games that are in this space, first-person adventure games like Call of the Sea, that's the game I was trying to remember before, Call of the Sea, that was never $60. That was a $30 game or a $40 game. In that space, I think you could sell people on a puzzle-first adventure game. $60, full price tag? I don't know. Here's the thing. I think, I'm like 90% sure, and somebody can check me on this one, it's a game that's being published by Xbox. I don't know if Machine Games is owned by Xbox at this point. I'd have to look that up, but it's going to be on Game Pass, right? The Xbox logo was the first thing we saw. This is going to be on Game Pass. I'm like 95% sure, and again, somebody could check me because I might be wrong, but I'm pretty confident. That is where I think this game is going to see a lot of success. People are going to be interested by Indiana Jones. It's a new game with a lot of cool stuff. Is it worth the $60? Jury's still out on that one. All right, that's enough of Indiana Jones. We got some more stuff to get through. I am genuinely curious what you guys think of this one, because for me, it's interesting. I just don't know if it's enough. I really don't. All right, let's see what else we got here. Danny's saying 100% Game Pass day one. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate you, man. All right, let's see what else we got. We got Stalker 2. IGN's preview of Stalker 2. We could dive into that. We've got Towers of Agaspa. We've got Monster Hunter Outlanders. We got this video here, which is from another creator. Guys, this is what I'm talking about, pushing me outside my comfort zone. I don't know where to go next. I don't know what to talk about next. Avowed joining the Battle.net platform. I did see that one. I'm actually pretty excited about that one. Core Punk. We could talk about Core Punk. I'm laughing because if anybody knows me and, you know, the flack we took around our Core Punk alpha video, yeah, it was interesting. Adamfall. Actually, I kind of want to look at Adamfall. I definitely want to look at Adamfall. South of Midnight. Love that. We got an Unreal video. We've got a Concord video. All right, you know what? We'll just go back to the bottom and see which one I click on first here. Let's do Stalker 2. I'm interested in this one, but if you guys know me, I am a huge chicken when it comes to anything scary in video games. So, like, you'll never really catch me playing a scary game. I can't even tell you the last scary game that I played. But anyways, let's check this one out. I know it's IGN. That's fine. We have no, you know, despise for IGN like some folks in the gaming community. You know, in fact, a lot of what we do here at the channel is similar to IGN, right? We review games, we make guides, all sorts of things like that. So we're gonna check this one out. So this is the Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl exclusive. Wait, this is a trailer. Hold on. I clicked on the wrong thing. All right, this came out 10 days ago. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to watch this. Then we're going to watch the IGN one because I have not seen this exclusive Smoking Barrels gameplay trailer. I'm curious. It looks like there's a lot of gameplay in here, which is awesome. And then we'll watch the IGN one because that's their kind of preview. I assume they've played the game at this point, which, you know, could tell us a lot about what's going on with this game, which has had a very interesting development cycle, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know.
The Zone was never a friendly place. Scenic and breathtaking, yes. But don't be fooled. Gunfire in the Zone hasn't subsided for many years, which is why you won't find a person here without a weapon. And if you need one, you might come across stashes left by stalkers who decided to hide their guns and best gear for the future. Before heading out on your next adventure, check your gear. Repair it if needed. Otherwise, you may face, well, consequences. And don't forget, without ammo, your piece is useless. Be sure to know where you're heading so you can grab the ammo type you want, especially if you need something unique.
They're really leaning into the weapon management aspect of the game in this trailer, which, you know, makes sense based on the trailer.
Scenario. Depending on what kind of stalker you are and how you prefer to navigate the Zone, you can upgrade your best friend with various attachments found along the way, installing them on the go to adapt to the exact fight at hand. And hey, if you want to stick with your firearm for a bit longer and customize it further, technicians will be happy to assist, but not for free. These guys can repair and upgrade your gear to suit your gunfight style, making it more specialized for specific circumstances, or vice versa, turning it into a versatile tool for any situation. zone is a unique place, but the laws of physics and ballistics
Who's
still
shooting here?
apply.
My goodness.
Each gun feels and fires differently, and its effectiveness depends on the distance and the type of armor you're up against.
Interesting that everybody has a name in the game. I don't know if anybody else
That's
picked up
why,
on that.
my friend, preparation is key to survival. But don't forget, this place is full of surprises. The more you know the zone and expect the unexpected, the better your chances of living another day, exploring her mysteries and secrets, and reaching the goal you've set for yourself.
This is one of those games for me that I wasn't going to play it anyways. One, because I'm a huge chicken. This feels like a game from the middle of the 2000s. Like, this does not feel like a 2024 game. And I don't know what that is. One, huge shout out to just, GSC for getting through this game. Because obviously, they're a developer in Ukraine. The Ukraine war is still going on. They've been displaced. The development of this game has not been clean. So you just have to kind of tip your cap to them for continuing to push on. But the game itself is very confusing to me. It is a supernatural game, and they leaned really hard into that in the beginning. But now, a week ahead of launch, they're showcasing some very basic gunplay stuff, which I don't know if they're trying to attract the, kind of the standard first-person shooter player. I can't remember what's that really popular game, Tarkov. Are they trying to attract the Tarkov type player with what they're showing in this trailer? A lot of gun customization, and a little bit more of the gun and inventory management stuff. And they're not showing any sort of supernatural environmental stuff until the very end. And even that last clip of the game was them fighting that one, the one creature. I don't know what the name of the creature is, right? But this feels interesting to me. And this actually happens a lot more often than you'd think with developers that either, they might not have the money to do a full-blown, really in-depth marketing campaign. They may do this all in-house. And look, every team is going to approach it differently. This is a different type of game than what I thought it was, based on this one specific trailer. So I like what they're doing in terms of showcasing the guns and the modularity of the guns. Does that speak to me as a player? No, not me as a player. But again, it's very clear they're trying to go after that kind of first-person shooter player that likes gun customizations. Maybe they like kind of the gritty post-apocalyptic vibes of something like a Tarkov, where this might speak to that audience, right? They're trying to find their audience. That's the whole point of doing trailers and marketing their game. But some of this stuff, like where they start talking about the different weapon types, like, yeah, well, of course, like your submachine gun's not going to work from the top of a roof, but a sniper rifle will. It just feels like they're talking to a player that, of course, they already know this stuff. It's just a little strange. But I do want to check out that IGN preview because now I'm really curious what they're saying about the game. Because if they're saying things are looking really great, then I'm all about it. Let's see. Is this the same thing? I think this is the same thing. Hold on. We're going to find it. We're going to find it. Stalker. Here it is. The final preview. Let's check it out. After we sit through a commercial. Yeah, Schmo's yelling at me, telling me I'm going to need to get YouTube Premium. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right, let's see what IGN has to say about this because, again, I don't really know what type of game this is at this point. Based on that last trailer and the initial trailers and the couple trailers over the past few years, I'm just not sure what Stalker 2 is trying to be. So maybe this will give us a little clarity.
Don't want the innocent to suffer? Then help me find the culprit. 2 hours isn't enough time to see all the branching stories, admire all the beautiful graphics, and discover all the secrets within the world of Stalker 2.
Who sent you? Richter?
But it is enough to be left impressed. When I wasn't taking stock of my paltry ammunition levels and hunger gauge, I was looking out at beautiful fields of red poppy flowers. When I wasn't getting distracted by an interesting side quest, I was doing my best to lure mutants into an anomaly trap. And while it was over, just when it felt like it was getting extra good, it had still left its impression. The impression that the team at GSC Game World has created something special with Stalker 2.
Automatically, okay, that alleviates a little bit of my
I will preface all
concerns.
this by admitting that I am not a Stalker expert, meaning I have not played the 2009 hits, but I probably should be because I am a huge fan of games that offer us various options for dealing with a story scenario, especially those where one seemingly small decision can have effects that ripple through the rest of your playthrough. That's what this series, which began with 2007's Shadow of Chernobyl and was built on in Call of Pripyat in 2009, is best known for, and it's what struck me the most from my handful of hours with Stalker 2. I kept thinking about those decisions I had made and wondering if I had made a mistake by choosing a violent, guns blazing approach, and wondering if I should have tried a stealthy or even fully peaceful one. But Stalker 2 takes it several steps further. There are times you'll have NPCs abruptly end a quest without rewarding you because you've looted the body of their dead friend, for example.
I'm sorry, Strider.
Have that happen a couple of times and it'll give you pause even when you're doing the kind of routine task that you normally wouldn't even think about.
Suddenly, the voice of Monolith was gone. I felt as if I was awakening from a years-long coma.
Our demo began with that Enter the Zone.
There's some big
Oh my
in town
goodness.
Right now. The Emirates and
Okay,
the
Josh, we're gonna have to
all
do
the
it.
Heavy hitters are after him again.
Well, while we sit here, what I will tell you is I now have a lot more of a clear understanding of where the game is going, right? Definitely not what was conveyed in that specific exclusive weapons trailer, which is good and bad, right? You have to assume that not everybody is taking a sum of the parts, and people are watching maybe one trailer but not the rest of them. If all I saw about Stalker 2 was that gunplay trailer, I would not be invested in this game at all because I don't care about 2000s era weapon systems. Okay, maybe 2010s era weapon systems. This is a little bit more clarifying about, what you're doing in the world, finding side quests, anomalies, really cool environments. None of that was conveyed or even showed in that other trailer. So that's pretty interesting. But commercials aside, let's dive back in.
Cinematic before we were unleashed into a small field area covered by the darkness of night where we were hunting for anomalies. These are dangerous areas that have been disturbed in the irradiated area and can reveal powerful artifacts with special attributes on them. And on the graphics front, for both PC and Xbox, these areas look stunning on both platforms.
Скіфе, радий тебе бачити, друже.
This introductory sequence introduces us to Skiff. While we still don't know much about Skiff, we did learn that he seems to be well versed with the new technology of Stalker 2, such as the Gilka 1 detector that you can flip open and use to search for artifacts as it beeps louder and louder when approaching the correct area. Stalker 2 artifacts are basically small objects that give you benefits like a faster stamina recharge. While attempting to plant and charge a separate larger Topaz scanner at 3 such anomaly locations, I'll yada over some spoilers here, because after a dramatic moment we wind up in the open world section of Stalker 2 where our journey really begins, with a main quest that we quickly find sending us on a search for an individual named Squint. But before tackling that Squint questline, I was surprised by just how much could happen in the open world. One example was an encounter with some unsavory folks trying to attack a character bunkered down in their home. All of our footage was provided, so I'll do my best to replicate that with what we were given. Anyway, once I took them out by sneaking around behind them and making quick work of them with a sidearm shot to the noggin, I was introduced to a new NPC character. And on the animation for a second, no matter who you meet in Stalker 2, the character models express emotion and the somber mood is on full display as you sit around campfires on a brief break. This particular new character, however, sent me on a quest to check on his friend, and a chain of other small quests unlocked because I opted to help this one individual who I could have simply walked past had I been mainlining the story missions. I found it interesting because it was an early example of how one small side quest could begin branching out into a larger and more involved story beat that I could have easily missed. Not only are there human enemies to worry about, which usually have your standard arsenal, but there are also larger, more unpredictable flesh mutants and bloodsuckers who are extra deadly and can make short work of you if you're not careful. And there's fields of poppy flowers to navigate, the latter of which sounds quite nice, but will put you to sleep forever if you wander too far off the main pathways.
You can't rest now, we're nearly there.
Not only does this keep combat and the wastelands of the exclusion zone interesting, but it also offers moments of awe as you look out at the beautiful red sea of poppy flowers, knowing you'll need to go in there and carefully navigate it to complete your objective. All that said, when I did finally find Squint, I was given two options: confront him with violence and head back to base, or help him survive and be sent on a completely different story branch.
Our new Xfinity gateways can support hundreds of devices. Up your internet game. Am I right? I'm over.
Unbelievable. Well, listen, I told you guys right off the jump that this was going to be a little different. It was going to take us a minute to get into this, but here we go. So, I mean, we'll get through the commercial here and then we'll pause it for a second, because quite honestly, if I wasn't such a chicken, I'm getting closer to being enticed to play this game. Would I spend $60 on this? No, but that's just not because it's not my type of game. It's really interesting to see them talking about a lot of narrative-driven choice in a game like this, because I don't know Stalker. I never played the first one, but you know, when I think of, again, a first-person sim, this is kind of what I think about. I think of a game like, not Looper. Oh my goodness. What is that game that I played by the Arcane team? It's killing me because I loved that game. Doesn't matter. The point being, you know, there's a lot of choice, right? Autonomy of choice, but also within this is like, you know, you've got open world elements, you've got survival elements. So you've got this kind of first person quest driven survival action game with some sim elements to it, which is, it's interesting. It really is. And again, Stalker has a great reputation, the first Stalker. No, I'm not talking about Redfall or Prey. I'm talking about oh my gosh. I was probably one of like the only people that played it. Deathloop. Thank you, Livid. It's Deathloop. Deathloop is the one that I was thinking about, where it's got similar pieces to this, it just in the sense that it was a first person, you know, shooter sim. That's all I was getting at there. It's very clearly different games. That's all. But anyways, let's keep going here because we're almost at the end of this 8 minutes.
First, I took the violent approach, but when I realized it felt a bit anticlimactic to end the journey with a gunfight, so I loaded up a save just before the encounter and went the other way. I couldn't help but remember the hundreds of hours I played Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, some of my favorite games ever, and experienced that same lingering doubt as to whether or not I made the right decision in a given situation. Stalker 2 had just evoked that same emotion in a 2-hour game session. It may not be special, and a lot of games have used this before, but I hadn't realized how much I missed this level of nuance. While games like Cyberpunk offered interesting beats to explore, a lot of the stories wound up at the same place. I'm left hopeful that the branching paths could result in some wildly different results in Stalker 2's case. This brief session with Stalker 2, which seemed to start us at the very beginning of the game, reminded me just how great a branching style of storytelling can be from a gameplay perspective, specifically when it's interwoven as it has been here with Stalker 2. I can't wait to see what else is in store for the full experience, and I'm able to discover just how far things can unravel. Beyond the branches of storytelling you can explore and the pretty graphics, I also found it really refreshing to be challenged with managing resources like ammunition and food to ensure survival. If you don't eat enough, you'll fatigue easier, and that means worse aim or less stamina, which you can use to navigate a conflict by, say, running away if you want to. If you run out of bullets, your knife probably won't cut it in many situations, but you can try to instead use the environment to your advantage by luring your opponents into an anomaly. This kind of resource management lends nicely to the overall feeling this oppressive world is trying to convey, and it reminds me that every fight should be considered a calculated risk. Do I unload with my AK ammo that I'm very short on, or do I try and use a bit of stealth here? Can I get away with using a pistol, or do I need to get extra aggressive with these bigger enemies? Do I tackle this during the night when I can use darkness to my advantage, or would I rather use the sunlight to my advantage for clearer sight? The fact that the designers at GSC Game World have struck a balance with how much they give you, at least early on, with the scenarios you're put in, makes it feel like it's in a great spot right now. Hopefully this sticks for the rest of Stalker 2 and you don't become overpowered by the end of the campaign, because this feeling of desperation is what it's all about.
I wonder what's out there. Eternal Spring? The Klondike of artifacts? A new home?
I'm left with eagerness to get back into the world and see what other trouble Skiff gets into. Even though November 20th is right around the corner, Stalker 2 can't come soon enough. In the meantime, check out the Stalker 2 gameplay, and for more on all things gaming, keep it right here at IGN.
It's really interesting. I think this could be a really good game, right? It's going to have a very specific audience. It's very clearly designed for a certain type of player, and he says it in the video. A Fallout, a Deus Ex, a Metro type player, somebody that enjoys kind of that autonomy of exploration in a dystopian type world, right? There's a lot of really cool things that do lend itself to a great game, and this was a much better showcase of what Stalker 2 could be. One thing that actually was really interesting to me was exactly what he was talking about, that kind of branching pathways. We talk about choice in a lot of the videos, especially when we talk about reviews, right? Choice is such an illusion in a lot of games. Choice is always bringing you back to the same point. And he mentions that, right? A lot of games will give you choice, or in the moment what feels like choice, but ultimately you end up in the same place. And what he's saying here in this video is the decisions that he's making, and he would load up a save and check out a different decision, would lead down an entirely different path. Oftentimes a choice will slightly veer you off in one direction or the other, but again, you end up in the same end point. What he's saying is it looks like Stalker 2 is not going to be that. The decisions that you make are going to bring you in a completely different direction, which is really cool. And quite honestly, if I was marketing this game, which for those that don't know, like, marketing is my thing, like that's what I do in my day job, and I just love the the whole concept and strategy behind marketing anything, but in this case games, I would lean into that. I would have had a trailer that's talking about, showcasing and talking about the autonomy of choice. You're making a decision, it's going to lead to two very different outcomes in the immediate, but also have ripple effects long term. Because a lot of games say that. A lot of developers say that there's choice. But when it actually comes to the results of those choices, it's lackluster. Like, think about a game that you've played where you're like, man, I made a choice and I felt the weight of that choice throughout the entire rest of the game. There aren't very many games like that. And the games where that does happen are usually incredible games. They're usually, on a list somewhere of a top 10, 50, 100 games of all time, right? Because choice is such an impossibly hard thing to get right in video games. One, because our expectations as players are all over the place. A little choice and a little result might be okay to you, but for me, if I'm making a choice and I do something drastic, I want a drastic result. So you've got a lot of obstacles that are working against developers, and let's be honest, let's call a spade a spade. Developers, for the most part, play it safe. They don't want to offend anybody anymore. They don't want to isolate anybody anymore. There's concepts of destructive development, right? By cutting off a pathway to a player, they're going to be left disappointed. So most games nowadays don't do that. You can get everything at any point, no matter what you've done in the game. And that's inclusive, right? And that allows you to do everything that you want in that game. But there's also kind of that gratification of having a unique experience, which is completely different, right? In a game like this, where if I make decision A, I'm going down pathway A, or I'm making decision B and I'm going down pathway B, man, it's a completely different experience for us as players, which we don't talk about enough, quite honestly. We talk about choice. We mention choice in our reviews all the time, but very few games manage to capitalize on it and execute a choice-based system. And we'll talk about another game next week, most likely, in our 2025 kind of look ahead, Fable, which was built on the idea and the foundation of choice and morality. And that was the kind of the conception point of that in gaming. And where we've come to at this point in 2024 is almost a watered down version of that. But maybe Stalker 2 is going to change the way we kind of look at choice in games. I hope so, right? I hope new games will push the boundaries of things and help us rethink the way that some of these systems should operate for future games. So there's a lot of really cool stuff here. Again, I tell you guys, this is not for me. This is a game that I personally won't be playing because I'm a chicken, and things like what's happening on the screen right now absolutely terrify me. You know, I literally would need to be in Discord with the boys, like sitting there making sure that I have somebody to talk to, or I won't be able to play a game like this. But there are some cool concepts here. I actually think the red poppy thing is really interesting. It reminded me of, I think it was Far Cry 4 with Bliss, right? You would go out into the fields and the fields would kind of make you all loopy. That's what they're kind of alluding to with the red poppy. The red poppy is going to make you, it's got a psychedelic effect, but that's where you have to go for certain quests or mission objectives. So there's some really cool stuff here. I'm excited to actually get to view this one as a creator that's not covering this game and just see what people say about it. There are very few major games now that Livin and I and the rest of the team don't cover, where we actually get to sit back and just enjoy what people are doing in that game space. This is going to be one of them. So pretty excited to see what the results of reviews and kind of what happens after launch. So Stalker 2, I think it looks good. That first trailer was a little weird, but the second one, the preview from IGN really kind of sold me that the game is heading in the right direction. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. I want to swing up and I want to talk about Adamfall. This is a game, for those that don't know, Adamfall is coming out in 2025. I think it's slated for a March release, and this is one that is looking to capture that Fallout vibe, but it's based in a British village. So you've got this kind of fictional British village, but you've got kind of that Fallout dystopian energy and a little bit of that British quirkiness too. This is the second trailer that we've seen for the game. We saw the reveal trailer, I think, at the Game Awards last year. This is the release date trailer. So I'm excited to check this one out with you guys because this could be a surprise hit of next year. There are often these kind of lesser known games that pop up at a good time of the year. People are like, man, I didn't hear about this one, but the snowball effect kind of happens. A few people play it, a few people give it positive reviews, and then all of a sudden, 100,000, 200,000 people are playing it. I am not saying that's happening for Adamfall. I'm just saying the initial concept was interesting to me, so I've kept my eye on this one. So this is a short one, guys. This is only a minute and 10 seconds, so can't be that much. It's a release date trailer, but let's talk about it.
Product not yet rated.
The woods are dark, and the woods lie deep, and the woods are home to summers don't sleep. So sit thee down.
So way different vibe than the launch trailer.
Of the woods that stand on Casterfell.
my goodness. Don't love that. Wow. All right. Well, I'm going to have to get over that part of it because I really want to play this game. That was not enough of a look into this game. Quite honestly, if I'm being 100% with you guys, that is a pointless trailer to me. March 27th release date. That's awesome. I'm excited that this has a solid release date. But that trailer, kind of pointless. So what I want to do, for those that may not actually know this game, is look up the Atomfall trailer. Yeah, Gamescom. Is it this one? Is this the right trailer? Yeah, this is the right one. Let's take a look at this one, guys, because this was kind of our first introduction to this game, and I want you guys to see this.
Product not yet rated.
I also don't know a lot about Rebellion. I don't think we've talked about them much here on the channel.
Pride of Britain. Nestled in the picturesque Lake District, the state-of-the-art atom plant has transformed this rugged landscape into the envy of its northern neighbors. Scientific progress waits for no...
Wind scale. Everything changed when that bloody atom plant went up in flames.
Citizens of Wyndham, there has been an increase in bandit activity outside the village walls.
Temporary quarantine, they said? It's been bloody years.
They're hiding something from us. Something terrible.
My name's Molly. You got out to trade? I got bits and bobs for sale.
Please be careful. It's more dangerous than you can possibly imagine.
All right. So here's the deal. I have seen that trailer before, so this is not a genuine reaction to that trailer, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of context as we talk about this game in case you hadn't seen it, right? So that's another short trailer. That's very much a marketing trailer, like giving us a taste of it. Rebellion, the team behind the Sniper Elite games. Thank you, Livid, for pinging me with that because I genuinely didn't know. I've never played a Sniper Elite game, but I do know that they are, for the most part, well received. So that's a good sign in terms of like who's developing this game. But you guys can probably see it off the bat, right? This feels like a Fallout-esque game with kind of a British twist. And you saw a little bit of that kind of dry, quirky British humor in some of the small moments, you know, the cutscenes that were baked into this trailer. But ultimately, what we're looking at here is this kind of adventure within this fictional town of Wyndham, or Windscale. I couldn't exactly tell what it was called. And it's going to be an open world adventure, first person, you know, kind of quest driven, most likely experience. We don't get enough of a sense of that in this trailer, but what we do see is kind of the different environments that we're going to be exploring. You've got kind of the picturesque town, then you've got that like cult-esque forest area, and then you've got kind of the outskirts of all of that. It's a lot greener than a Fallout, which I think is really interesting. It's a lot more vibrant. So you're almost in a different space entirely. It doesn't have kind of that same muted, really dystopian feel, even though the context of the game is, you know, this atom plant exploded or there was some fallout, whatever issue, and now all of a sudden things have changed. But yet the town is still intact. People are still at a pub. So like the concept is really cool. There's pieces of it that are really cool, but I just don't know exactly what's what at this point. So, you know, more to come on this game. I think we are going to see this one at the Game Awards. Like, if I were to put money on it, I would say we're definitely going to see Atomfall, and we're going to see a lot about this game in the coming months, right? If it's coming out in March, you'd expect a lot more trailers, previews, gameplay, all of those things to start popping up because, quite honestly, they don't have a lot of time. And they also don't have the name ID of an established franchise. So they got a lot of work to do. I'm really interested in this game from a concept perspective. I haven't seen enough of the actual gameplay to give you a sense one way or another if, everybody should pick it up or not. So more to come on this one. It's a cool concept. We'll see what actually shakes out. All right, hold on. I got to take my headset off for a second. I don't wear headphones very often, so like wearing headphones for a long period of time absolutely drives me nuts. I'm going to have to get used to this. But again, we're only doing this once a week, so it's okay. We will survive. Oh, look, it looks like there's actually some gameplay here. 14 minutes of gameplay. But, to my point, and to kind of put a pin in the Atomfall thing here, this is 14 minutes of gameplay of a game that people don't really know about, and it's only got 97,000 views. So, and that's not a lot, right, by like an IGN standards or, a GameSpot, whoever released this gameplay. So they got a lot of work to do in terms of getting people to see this game, to be interested in this game. So they just got a lot of work to do. All right. What else we got here? We got Crimson Desert. We've got Core Punk. Oh, man, South of Midnight. I'm probably going to hold off on another IGN video just because I don't want commercials to kind of weigh us down. I'm going to have to get, YouTube Premium so that doesn't happen again. You know what? I'm really interested in this Monster Hunter Outlanders trailer. As a team that's going to be tackling Monster Hunter Wilds for the first time, like diving into a Monster Hunter game, this is something that I think Livid and myself are interested in, getting into this space, but not having that entrenched institutional knowledge in Monster Hunter. So I've been watching a little bit more, trying to get myself a little bit more familiar with this space. And for them to just keep pumping out game after game after game is really interesting. So I know nothing about Outlanders. I'm hoping it's a cool, step after Wilds, but we'll see. Let's check it out. Is this another IGN trailer that I'm on? Of course it is. I should have listened to Schmo. Bottom line, I should always listen to Schmo and get YouTube Premium. All right, this is another short one here. Teamy. I have no idea who Teamy is. Here we go. Oh, it's a mobile game. Oh my gosh. The frame rate in the trailer is not good. Oh boy. Okay. Well, I learned absolutely nothing about that game from that trailer. But here, I'll get on my soapbox for a second to say this. Mobile games are not inherently bad, right? It's the gross monetization of mobile games that is what somebody like myself, I can speak on behalf of the channel. I'm pretty sure I can speak for Livid on this front. Like, gross monetization is what kills mobile games. There's nothing inherently wrong about a good game on a mobile platform. In fact, if you were in the creator space or, any sort of similar space, you'd realize that most people consume content on their phones, right? We think about what we do here at the channel, and a lot of people, in fact, a majority of the people, watch our videos on a phone. So that changes the way we think about the content that we deliver. It's the same for game developers. If people are playing more games on their phone, why would you not create more experiences for them on their phone? Does that take away from the PC console experience? yeah, in a sense, right? You've got developers who are branching off into new and different territories. But that doesn't necessarily mean that mobile games are bad. And in fact, Livid just covered a game on the channel, which is the new Pokemon trading card game, which is a mobile game that he really enjoyed. Was it balanced from a whales abusing the system perspective? No, it wasn't. And that's an unfortunate reality of mobile games. These mobile games, for the most part, are designed to make money. And that is what sucks about it. But there are plenty of good games out there that have been, maybe even started on PC or a console. I think of games like Slay the Spire that eventually moved over to mobile, and that same great experience is just being enjoyed on a different platform. I love that about games, right? The more that we can make gaming accessible to everyone, that's a win in my book, just because I love games and I want other people to be able to play games. Not everybody can afford a PC that can play every game that's out there. Not everybody can afford an Xbox or a PlayStation 5. For the most part, people have phones, right? Again, that does not mean we should be making shit mobile games. We should be making mobile games with the game at the center of the experience, not how can we manipulate players, how can we get them to spend money. I think most people that are at least my age in this kind of hustle that we do would agree with that. I was actually really big into Warcraft Rumble for a hot minute. I don't play mobile games now just because I don't have the time. But what I will say is, I don't have a problem with mobile games that embrace good gameplay. I will always vouch for good gameplay and good systems. That is who I am as a player. That is who I am as a creator. So, Monster Hunter Outlanders, I didn't learn anything about that game or that experience other than the fact that it looks like what they're trying to do is give players a little bit of that Monster Hunter Worlds experience on a mobile platform. The frame rates that we saw in a marketing trailer were incredibly alarming, technically, right? You never want to see a piece of marketing, a trailer for a game that's coming out, and the frame rate is complete garbage. That is a bad sign. That means they couldn't even capture it in a way that showcased the game in its best light. And always, when we talk about trailers for games, they should be trying to showcase the game in the best light, obviously the most authentic light, but the best light possible. And that just didn't happen here. All right, guys, we're coming up on 11 o'clock. I want to look at one more trailer with you guys, and then we're probably going to wrap up for the day. Again, I want to make this a couple hours thing every week, and then we'll wrap it up. But what I will say before we do that, I appreciate you guys that have been hanging out with us in the chat. I don't know how many of you are watching. I got too many things up on my screen right now. But again, if you want to join in this process, I need you guys. Like, this is a personal pitch to you guys. I am not online enough. I don't see all of this stuff every week. So if you're on Reddit, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever the heck it may be nowadays, and you're checking out video game stuff and you want me to dive into it on a weekly basis, join the subreddit. I'm sure it's been posted in the chat at least once or twice. Join the Legacy Gaming subreddit. Post content for us to take a look at. I need your help. It's the only way this is going to get better. This is the only way this is going to grow. Because if I have to start finding stuff, we're in dire straits. Absolute dire straits. I'm going to end with Core Punk. I'm a masochist in the sense that I have been dying for an MMO. Livid, Schmo. Maybe I've said it in some videos, but I doubt it. But those guys know, I'm a huge World of Warcraft fan. I grew up in the golden age of MMOs, and I am desperate. I mean, desperate to get back into an MMO. But Core Punk is not that one. I haven't even watched this yet, and listen, I played the alpha. We posted a video about this game. We were honest with our feedback. People didn't like honesty, and that's fine. Not everybody has to like everything we say. This game, again, huge shout out to the developers for continuing the development of this game. This is another Ukrainian-based studio. I believe they have people from around Europe that work on this game, but I think they were based in Ukraine, so disrupted by the war, which is terrible. They are continuing to develop. It has been a long time for this game. I can't remember when the reveal trailer was launched. I think it was 18. It was before I met Livid. That's all I know. It was before I met Livid. And so to finally see this game jumping into early access, as the trailer title here says, is very exciting. But I'm not even cautiously optimistic. I'm just cautious. So let's check it out. But we're going to check it out after we sit through an ad about whatever this is about.
Welcome to the world of Corepunk, an MMORPG where magic meets science and interdimensional travelers become part of each other's stories as they explore, survive, and thrive in their new home. Once you have created a hero of your own and travel through the portal from your home planet, you'll arrive in a rich and seamless open world full of dangers, mysteries, and adventure. Embark on epic quests.
I'll do it. Great!
So make your fortune as a trader and master craftsperson by hoarding resources and creating special items, weapons, and artifacts with unique properties. Meet up with friends in the city and join forces to take on deadly monsters or other places.
Frame rate issues.
Use the fog of war to
Throwing
sneak
that out
up
there.
on your enemies and fight them together to claim victory. Corepunk is full of stories waiting to be told. What will your story be? Join early access at corepunk.com.
Here's the thing, guys. It looks cool. It does. I'm not gonna lie to you and say it doesn't look cool, but I have the curse of knowing and playing this game before. And so the things that I experienced, I can still see in this trailer. The movement and the action feels incredibly slow. That was one of my main problems with just the gameplay experience from moment to moment. You've also got a system, a lack of real clarity around the systems, other than the fact that, like, it's an MMO, you're going to do quests, you're going to do all those things, but the game has not done a good job of showcasing all of the things in the game and how they work, right? You talk about artifacts, you talk about crafting, and they've done this before. When you get into the game, those systems are not clearly defined, and they're really bulky. Like, I remember vividly going around the world trying to find one singular resource node and not being able to do it for like the 3 or 4 hours that I was playing it. Even the PvP that they're showcasing here, which was supposed to be a huge selling point of this game, just feels really slow and really clunky. And that's what it just makes me upset about this game, because the game is giving a lot of WildStar energies, right? You've got some really cool fantasy/science elements, which is exactly what WildStar was, combining fantasy with science. But it's just not doing enough here to convince me that Corepunk is a game that has learned from the alphas and the betas and the people telling them things. And this is more of a problem with how we as gamers and testers and people on the inside respond to games, right? In a situation like an early access game like Enshrouded, you're providing feedback to the team and they're hearing, okay, these are the things that players want. What happened in the case of Corepunk was we put out a review, and a lot of other creators put out reviews and their experiences with the game, and there was this small army of people that were shouting from the rooftop, you don't know what you're talking about. This is an old school MMORPG. It's supposed to be hard and laborious, and that's just, yeah, it's just not. It's 2024. The golden age of MMOs is behind us. People have really high expectations about this genre of game. And when you don't meet that expectation, you run into a lot of problems. And maybe you continue to win over that small group of players that love the very hardcore classic MMO experience. But from a developer perspective, you have to win over a huge chunk of players if you want to continue developing in this genre, right? MMO RPGs are amongst the hardest games to develop and sustain because of how many resources it takes to keep the game going, right? That's why there have been arguments and discussions about payment models. Is it subscription based? Is it pay one time? Is it, microtransaction based? You have to come to the table understanding that an MMORPG takes an insane amount of resources to produce and continue to sustain to keep players invested. And Corepunk, from everything that we've seen, has not been able to do that. Now, they are testing the waters with an early access. That is great. I think that is a necessary step in this process. And if they make it either free to play, I don't know what the payment model is here, free to play or cheap enough, you're going to get enough genuine feedback from other players that often don't pay attention to betas and alphas, right? Like most players don't know when betas and alphas are going on. Where you start to get some genuine traction is if a game like Corepunk heads on Steam into early access and pays for a little marketing, right? They've got a nice splashy banner that says Corepunk early access available now. Well, that's great because now you're going to get some casual players that love MMORPGs but maybe don't know a lot about Corepunk. And now the team is going to start to get some really genuine feedback. Again, where it gets complicated is when you have this small group of really dedicated fans that are protecting the game, that maybe the game doesn't need to be protected in that way, because protecting a game can often do more harm than good. If all the developers hear is that the game is amazing, it's perfect, don't change a thing, well, then they're not going to change a thing. They're going to think their game is perfect, and what they're actually doing is only listening to that small group of players, whereas the larger group of players may want a lot of change. And that's a problem we've seen with a few other games that have kind of developed a cult following. I see here that Fervor's played the game. Corepunk just felt dated in a bad way. I think personally they either didn't finish it or they didn't want to add something like the clarity that was missing. I mean, yeah, I think, again, you have to understand the situation that the team was in. They were disrupted by the war in Ukraine. That's absolutely a part of this. But again, this game has been in development for a very long time. And for them to not showcase it in a better way and to see more of this game is really alarming. It's very alarming. We have seen the same snippets of gameplay since 2018 or whenever the first trailer was released. And man, look, I hope any game is successful. I don't have any ill will towards any developer that is releasing a game. Man, I hope everyone is successful and it pops off. I just know better. And I know that after playing Corepunk during the alpha, that it wasn't an experience that I personally like. I know Livid didn't enjoy it. And while I hope Corepunk is successful, I just don't know if it's going to be. So hopefully early access is a telling moment for the team. They can learn and grow from it, and they can make the game better. We'll see. We will definitely see. All right, guys. It's around 11 o'clock my time. I just want to once again tell you guys this is a new thing for me. We're going to do it every Sunday around 9 o'clock. I really appreciate you spending a lot of time, your Sunday night with us, hanging out, interacting in the chat. Remember, we've got the subreddit, the Legacy Gaming subreddit. We need your help. If you want to join, all you got to do is apply. We're going to open it up to everybody in the next couple of weeks here, but check out the subreddit, post videos, trailers, whatever you want to do. I promise I will get better at this in the weeks and months ahead, but it's something new for us. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did or didn't, let me know. You can always hit me up in Discord. I am one of the few creators that actually leaves his DMs open. I don't hide anything from anybody. If you want to reach out to me, you can. And we'll do it again next week. So thanks so much for hanging out, guys. And yeah, we'll see you next time.